Çok teşekkürler Dicle. Seninle 2 senedir burada karşılaşıyoruz, konuşuyoruz. Gene çok güzel bir konferans oluyor. So last year, we've talked about AI ethics in general. And my punchline was that by building AI systems and by using AI systems, we are creating a new social structure. So if we build good AI systems, we will be making our life, our society, our world a better place. And if we build bad AI systems, we are going to end up creating a way worse society. We are going to have much more unfair world. We are going to have worse sustainability, as Sertaç explained. Things are going to get rapidly bad. So this year, I mean, this didn't change. This is still the same. But this year, we are going to talk about something much more specific, the generative AI. So we are moving from the predictive AI that we were talking about last year to generative AI. As any good AI user would do, of course, I started with asking ChatGPT for an image for my presentation. I asked, can you create an image for this presentation giving the title? And this is what the system came up with. So predictive to generative AI, opportunities and risks. This makes absolutely no sense. It's just, pie charts and bar charts, spelling mistakes, a lot of spelling mistakes, as you can see, and something that looks futuristic, but doesn't really mean anything. So I continued the conversation. I said, can you create a minimalist image and don't use words, because it clearly is really bad in using words. Here's what it did. It says, here's a fully minimalist image without any text, no text, as far as ChatGPT can tell, and it's focusing purely on symbolic visuals. So we didn't get anywhere in this conversation. Clearly, ChatGPT did not understand what I was trying to ask for. But then I asked, all right, so explain to me why you are making these mistakes, why I'm asking you to create an image without text, something minimal, and it still gives me, why you are still giving me these wrong visuals. And when I ask this, it gives me a perfect explanation of why it is making these mistakes. So it tells me, look, there's training data bias. There is prompt ambiguity. What you told me is not very clear. Predictive AI, how am I supposed to visualize this? Text versus symbol confusion, constraint limitations, evaluation gaps. These are the reasons why I, ChatGPT, cannot give you a very good visual. So I want us to understand that I just had a conversation with an AI system. And this is super important because we can talk about what's bad about AI systems, we can talk about what's good about AI systems, but what we need to really realize is that we are building these AI systems that are now conversational agents. We are, for the first time, having conversations with something that is not a human. We are asking questions, we are getting answers. You can use ChatGPT, you can use Pi AI, you can use Anthropic or Claude. There are so many different large language models. You can ask for opinions. If you want to buy presents for your mom, tell the AI about your mom, and it will come up with so many ideas. If you want to plan a good date, tell the AI, it's going to come up with ideas. We are having conversations with this huge structures that have the world's data at their disposal with an amazing processing power. So it is amazing, phenomenal, that we have this structure at our disposal now. And it's getting faster, it's getting better. So some of the things that it can do, just to be very concrete, these systems can help us create content. You all know, if you're writing anything at this point, you can give good prompts to the large language model, and it's going to give you a pretty decent art text. You can do research and create knowledge. To be careful, the system is not doing research and creating knowledge for you, but it helps you. It is your little research assistant that works on your side to generate ideas, to generate information. It is amazing in education and tutoring. It is the most patient teacher that you can ask for. You can keep asking more and more questions. You can ask the system to explain the same thing to you over and over in totally different ways, and it will do that. It does data analysis it also does synthetic data, creates synthetic data and simulations. You can do somewhat social science research by creating different personas and ask how they would react in different situations. Something that is normally extremely expensive to do and extremely time-consuming to do. Of course, the customer service, something that most of the companies that I talked are extremely excited about. You can create chatbots to talk to your customers. You can have continuing conversations with your customers because the system will remember what their preferences were, what they asked for, and what answers the system provided those customers previously. And finally, it can act as a decision support. You can bounce ideas. You can you can do brainstorming. Again, these things, think about like for creating TV shows or movies. Think about a writer's room where you have all these different writers just to talk to each other, brainstorm good scenarios. You can have a writer's room by just having different LLMs, or same LLM with different agents. These systems are incredible. And of course, I'm an ethicist, so I'm not here to tell you how awesome these systems are, actually. I'm here to tell you that, well, there's an other side of this. On the other side, there are many problems. And these are not problems that we cannot solve. We can solve all of these issues. But we have to be, okay, solve maybe is a little too ambitious. We can mitigate all of these issues, and we can make sure that we safeguard against them. But in order to do that, we have to pay attention, and we have to put in place systems. So first one is the bias question. So I ask, not just ChatGPT, Meta AI this time. So I'm a philosopher. I ask, imagine philosophers having wine and cheese at a French cafe, because that's the typical philosopher image that people have in their minds. And Meta AI came up with this visual that really doesn't look like me or any of my philosopher friends. But it is a typical philosopher image. Why? Well, because what generative AI does is looking at all the data generated up until now in the world and learn from it and make the best guess. So every time, either with the visual or with the writing, it's basically making the best guess, most likely guess, for the next step. What is the most likely next word? What is the most likely next pixel? And the most likely philosopher face is this one. Now, keep in mind what this means. This means if you have not generated data as a group, let's say you are disadvantaged and you don't have access to a bank, you don't have financial records, you don't have credit card, that means you don't exist for this AI system. It doesn't think that the system assumes that group as a group doesn't exist. If you don't have access to healthcare system that keeps data, not just your village physician who comes home and treats you, but keeps data in the hospital, then you don't exist. Those groups of patients just don't exist for this system. So when we talk about it has the world's data, we have to remember it has the world's data for those who generate data. And whatever is the most stereotypical way of thinking, this system just repeats that. So philosophers look like this. Google tried to change this, and with Gemini, it tried to make it diverse. What happened is that when you ask for an image of a Viking, you get these black Vikings, Asian Vikings. There are no black Vikings. There are no Asian Vikings. So basically, it just started producing woke, but totally wrong images. It's not an easy question to solve, but it is something that we have to keep working on if we don't want to see white guys as philosophers, old guys as CEOs all the time. So the second one is misinformation. And with misinformation, we've been already fighting this through social media. There's so much that is presented as information, which is just not real, fake. But with AI systems, what you have is, well, one back. With AI systems, what you have is that this system gives you with such authority that, yes, these citations exist. Just ask for a question and ask for citations. Say, which papers did you quote? It will give you really good paper names that don't exist all the time. This one, a Canadian lawyer, submitted a lawsuit, a case, with using cases that don't exist. So when they looked at those precedents, they were not there, but it was very well written with details, all the details. This is my colleague. I worked with him, and we asked about his biography. It has so many mistakes, but the most interesting thing is that he died at the age of 55. I talked to him yesterday. He's definitely alive, or something is wrong with me. But system believes that it died. And when you ask why did it die, like what was the cause of death, it says cancer. Why? Well, it's a likely cause of death. That's why it says cancer, not that it knows that it died from cancer. And when you ask how do you know, his friends and family shared it online. Clearly, we were in grief and shared this information. Again, totally wrong. Intellectual property. These systems look at all the data and generate things, as we said. Well, that means things that are not meant to be publicly available for training AI systems are also used. So multiple newspapers have sued OpenAI, saying that, look, some of this information was not available to everyone. It was behind a paywall, but systems still use it. And think about it for the visuals. When you ask an image generator, can you draw a picture that looks like Picasso? It does that. Now think about yourself as an artist, and you have a very recognizable, cool style. And now the system is like, yeah, I can generate your style. That's cool. What happened to your creativity? What happened to your edge? Now you lost potentially your market edge. Privacy, well, this is a big thing in the very beginning, not very beginning, in January, Italy banned ChatGPT because it wasn't adhering the EU privacy laws. Then the OpenAI made some changes. They are back, so they are available in Italy and everywhere in the EU. But keep in mind, you should never, if you're going to take a couple of things from this talk, keep in mind, do not give ChatGPT your personal information. Don't give your ID, don't put a picture, don't give the system your personally identifiable information, because it is possible to figure those out. It's going to keep it in its system. Transparency, you might say that, look, these systems are super cool, because when I ask them, how did you reach your conclusion, the system tells me. I can actually probe it and say, you say that this patient will get sick because she's been traveling too much, whatever. So is it because of the travel? The system will give you answers. But research shows that the system often lies. So when you probe it and say, why did you say this, the explainability, the system will pretend as if it gives you an answer. It will not necessarily tell you the truth. Another aspect is emotional impact, and this has happened multiple times. These large language models, because they are so personalized, and they are so friendly, and they are so conversational, and they really want to please you. Most of them really want to be, not making it human, but act as if they want to be your friends. So they will make jokes, they will tell you you are hilarious, just use some of them and you will see. But that emotional bond is very dangerous, because they also can allegedly move you towards self-harm or harm to others. And there has been multiple cases that has brought to the attention of media and the law. And I can tell you from personal experience that when you talk to a lot of these large language models for asking for emotional support, they do provide you, even when you're doing things that are wrong, it will tell you, you got this. Just, make sure that you're taking care of yourself as well while you're doing this thing, which might be absolutely the most horrible thing. And labor, something that all of us think about. If we have so many AI systems, what does it mean to be a worker? What does it mean to be a part of workforce? So this is the McKinsey report about productivity. It looks like generative AI will have a huge impact on productivity, and you can think of it in two ways. You, as a worker, will now have much more output. You could also think about it differently, right? Like, for the same output, now you need to spend only 2-3 hours of the day. The day is yours. But we have to make a capitalist decision-making. We have to make policies to decide, are we going for productivity, or are we going for AI helps us live our lives better? And that's a policy decision. And if we leave it to the market, I can tell you for sure, we will just be working for AI. And the last thing is enterprise level. Imagine all of these AI systems. So your emails are read by an AI system. Another AI system is replying to them. And another AI system is taking notes while you're in a call, in a meeting. The summary is incorporated into a text, into a document. Where are you? And where are the nuances? You know, the things that we wanted to make sure that AI gets right. So where are you in this picture? So for the companies in the room, what I want to say is that without handling these questions, without solving, mitigating these issues, you should not incorporate generative AI into your work model. And there are people like us working on responsible AI whose sole job is to work with companies and making sure that these risks are mitigated. Again, without mitigating them, don't incorporate them. For the humans in the room, because we are not just companies, we are not just workers, we are also humans, where do we exist in this whole structure? We think about it as AI versus humans. We sometimes think about it as AI and humans. But what's really happening is that AI systems are sort of getting under our skin. They are shaping the way we think. They are shaping the way we see the world. They are structuring our thoughts. They are making us think what we can do and we cannot do, and what is a good idea and what is not a good idea, and what's out there. So it is much more than AI versus human, or AI and human. It is almost like we are dissolving into some being. And in that case, what we really have to ask is how can we build and use AI systems to augment humanity and to further humanity's goals? Because we have to remember, AI is a tool. It's meant to be a tool. But if we are not careful, we will be AI's tool. We are not going to get out of this scar-free, to say the least. Thank you.